What up, everybody? Welcome to yet another episode of These Corona Times. You are tuned in with your girl, Dr. Simone.
I'm not happy.
Not happy.
I'm not happy at all, but I'm here.
Your boy, Brandon.
I'm deep conditioning.
She's
Sorry, I'm telling you, I'm deep conditioning.
Let me try again.
While me and Tiff
we're just out here flowing, Excuse us. As I was saying, you are tuned in with Dr. Simone, your girl Tiffany, and your boy Brandon.
Brandon, good, folks.
We're waiting for Simone to join us.
Waiting.
No.
Welcome to another episode of These Corona Times. We're locked in for episode 41. We have crossed over the hill, guys. We have got to the top of the hill. We're going on the other side of that, I think, right? Over the hill.
What's the top of the hill? I thought it was 50.
Now 40 is the hill.
Where Tiff is closer to that than us.
Exactly. I'm closer.
She is. Tiffany's on the cusp of the hill.
I am. Yep. I am. I'm leading the way for my friends who are
following. I am not.
Right behind me. They are directly behind me. Okay, don't care what they say. They are very, very close behind me. But anyway, we want to thank you guys for tuning in, putting up with our shenanigans, because we're foolish. As always, we want to say thank you all so much for watching. We appreciate you. If you're watching right now, that's because it's Monday at 8 o'clock, wherever you are, and you're tuned in on our Facebook page or our YouTube channel. So you can catch us every Monday at 8 on Facebook at These Corona Times, on YouTube at These Corona Times. And guess what, folks? Now you can catch us on Spotify.
Man, Tiff is the GOAT. Tiff's the GOAT for that one.
Yes, we did get us together on Spotify.
Yes.
I haven't found us yet on there, but I know if I go look, that it'll be there.
It will be there. If you type in These Corona Times in the search box, it will come up. And guess what? If you're a new listener, you never watched before, you can catch up right now. You can listen to episode 1 through 41 now.
Beginning to
I see it's the person that pops up.
See? We're getting, see? That's what's up. That's what's up.
I see it. And
hit the
follow button there.
Hit the follow. Yes, when y'all see it, hit the follow button, and then you'll get alerts for when new episodes come out. If Simone would join the bandwagon and look us up on Spotify and follow
Spotify. Brandon just did it. He just now did it.
You know what? I was waiting for the announcement to give everybody else, the instructions on how to do it.
No. No. People know how to use Spotify.
Yeah, and I'm sharing it to all my stuff.
Share it. That's right. Like, share, subscribe, comment. We appreciate y'all. We appreciate y'all. All right, I give up. I give it over to
all right.
What you got?
Well, the next topic is self-care, of which I've done none of. But I'm sorry, I'm cynical tonight. Very cynical. So how did you all take care of yourselves this past week?
It's been bad.
I know exactly how I did.
What'd you do?
I'm telling you, it has been a tough week. There's been a lot going on professionally, and everything like that, financially and all that jazz. These chicks know my garage door story.
Yes.
So this is just a lot going on, but I am still trying to ride the wave of the Isley Brothers and Earth, Wind and Fire verses. And I stayed up till 12:30 Easter Sunday to watch it. And I have been playing the music literally all week long.
Mm-hmm.
I meant to say that. I meant to tease you about that because every time you would polo, it would be in the background, but we were too the whole week, still riding the wave. So that's my self-care. Thank you. That was fun.
And every time it's like when I have notes and I'll just turn it up. My daughter's at school. Monday and Tuesday my daughter's at school, so I could just let it go. And it was just like, yo, this week is hell right now, but this music is so good.
Mm-hmm. That was the same for me because I have not been doing much self-care. Actually, we didn't say it. We have not been with y'all for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just been a busy 2 weeks since we've been gone. So, now that we're back, I can't say I did a lot of self-care, but I think Sunday was a mix of we caused some pain to ourselves. We stayed up way too long. We all stayed
Yes.
up way too long. But it was wonderful. And for me,
It was.
I love when Black social media comes together. You know, I
Yeah.
love that. Like when there's something on television and it seems like every Black person is watching it and they're either tweeting about it or Facebooking about it, and you just like are having so many of the same conversations. Like
Yes.
they play this at my
Mhm.
grandma's for cookout in the backyard all the time, or
Yes.
we danced to this, like all those memories. So you know, it was just nice to,
Mhm.
and I like how the verses are changing too. Like where they were when they started out, it was more of a battle between people
Mhm.
with like real
Yeah.
beef, like my music's better than your music type stuff. But now it's really just like appreciation
Mhm.
It's like a
artists.
concert.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
throwing the ball back and forth.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
and I loved it. I love Steve Harvey and his extraness. I know people thought he talked too much, but I thought he was hilarious
He was so
because
excited.
he was
He
in his
was so
element.
excited.
Yes, and he was showing so much love. And I think Ron Isley has gotten more love than, I mean, my
Yes.
goodness. His wife
Yes.
probably had black paint right here and
She ready. She
Jordan. Like
ready.
she's probably about to throw down because people coming after her
Listen, I'm telling you,
husband.
I saw some old. I think Simone, you sent us that the Kev on stage thing where it was like an older picture of Ron versus a
Yes.
new. And I was like, boy, he showed. Dude, I wouldn't have known that was Ron, boy.
Let me tell
Y'all didn't
you.
tell me.
Let me tell you. This is what a young wife will do for you. Okay, we'll get you together.
He has to keep himself together. His wife is
Yep.
35 years younger than him.
He got to keep it
Yeah.
together. But you know, the
Yes.
women's was burning for Ron Isley.
Okay.
I'm
Young
not a
and old.
yeah, young and old. I'm sorry, Brandon. We're sorry.
Listen, I can appreciate it. He look good. He look good. I'm securing my masculinity to be like he ages very well.
Yes,
He
he
did,
did.
I
All
hope
of
to
them,
age like that.
honestly.
Yeah, all of them still
They
look good.
all look
You
All
good.
know,
look good, yeah.
Yeah.
And they all
Hmm.
and that's the thing. Real singers still can sing, and all those voices still sounded really, really good. So
hmm
Yes.
that was
still
my self
talented.
care, no, without a doubt.
Yeah, still
The
talented.
one, go ahead.
Ernie was lighting that guitar up, man. So,
Okay.
Boy,
Man,
that thing
made me
was
want to
singing.
play.
It
hmm
was singing
He,
that night.
only thing I did not, what I was concerned about, I was like, Steve, can you stop blowing cigar smoke in these singers' faces? Can you please stop? They have to sing. He sit back like this.
Listen, how many days you think Steve slept in that suit?
the whole,
He's still in the
I
suit.
think he still got it on. Yeah, I think he's still wearing it. He probably gonna hang it
Anyway,
up, put
y'all.
it on a hanger, put it in the closet, still in the bag.
Exactly.
Never wear the suit again.
So that was
Yes.
basically all of our self care this
Yes.
week, huh?
Yes,
And that's I think it's
Yes.
all three of
Pretty
us what we
much.
did.
yes.
Um, Tiff, do you have an additional self care, or are you really finished? Are we really done?
No, that was really it.
That's
That's all I got.
it.
You know, you gotta take
Either
Okay.
either
these
the
things as they
verses was
come.
that even the verses was that good, or we just did a very terrible job of self care this week. One or the other.
Job. It's
I
been
say both. A little
yeah.
bit of both.
Aside aside from Brandon's birthday, which was where we left you all, I think
Oh,
it's
that's
been
right.
downhill since April 1. So
Yeah. Yeah.
just
Definitely.
yeah.
Definitely. So we always acknowledge someone in our community doing a wonderful thing, or doing wonderful things. So this week we want to highlight our own and our friend, Dr. Crystal Narcisse. So Crystal is our church family, super, super close to me and my family. And um, she's a doctor in Louisville. I'll just say that. She recently got a promotion as the co-medical director of community outreach, which is really awesome because um, in her position, she's going to really be trying to address and close the disparity gap in healthcare through access, education, and employment. And that's really important because we're going to talk about, I'm not going to say too much. I'm going to let Brandon do the orientation. We're going to be
Gotta let
talking
him
about,
do it.
you know, right, disparities in social justice and also voting, discrimination, and all of that kind of thing. So to see her doing this work in the healthcare field is really important. We're still going through a pandemic. Um, so we definitely wanted to just highlight the work that she's doing. She also I want to say maybe a year ago, she got like the highest honor um,
Mhm.
in
Yeah,
her, I think, Norton Healthcare, the Good Samaritan
American,
Award.
yeah, I
Right.
remember
One of her
that.
patients, yeah, one of her patients came in and their shoes were just not really not um, in very bad condition.
Yeah.
And so this is so Crystal. She just took off her shoes and gave the patient the shoes off her feet.
Hmm.
Um, and so, she never asked for recognition, but people noticed it and they're like, "Where are your shoes?" And she was like, "Well, I had to give it to my patient." And so she was nominated and got the award for that. And that's just the kind of person that she is. So
Hmm.
When
very
somebody
thankful for.
says, I know there's the whole saying that, oh, such and such will give the shirt off they back. Crystal actually will.
She really will.
She will.
She really
She will.
she really will do that.
Yeah.
Like, you're
Yes,
like,
she
whoa,
will.
Crystal, what's going on? No, she really will give you the shirt off of her back. I've had, I work for the insurance company as a health educator and the case manager, and I've had multiple patients who have had who have Dr. Crystal as their primary care doctor, and it's like Dr. Crystal, I don't let them know that I know her, but it's like, oh yeah, Dr. Crystal, she says this. Oh, she's really trying to get me to eat more. She's trying to get me to eat more vegetables and
Hmm.
go on more of a plant-based diet. Oh, that Dr. Crystal, she's so great. So big ups to Dr. Crystal Narcisse.
Yeah, and she specializes in internal medicine and pediatrics, so she's really across the lifespan. I know that if I have issues with Kaden, I try not to call her, but
Hmm.
if I'm really scared, I do, and she always answers. So definitely
Listen, we got
appreciate
we
her.
got Crystal as the internist for all of our kids, and we have Dr. Zaria as the surgeon for the kids. I think we good.
Right, so we're good.
We're good.
Brandon, that's correct. Brandon, would you like to give us an orientation to the
Would
episode?
you? Would you
Well,
please?
Simone, I almost had a joke for you because you were in one breath. You're like, oh no, I'm not gonna say anything. I'm gonna let Brandon do that. But we're gonna be talking a little bit more about social justice, inequalities, and this. And I was like, yeah, there's an introduction.
No, but you elaborate so beautifully.
You do.
You know what? Don't hype my head. Don't pump my head up right now. Don't do that. Don't try to get out of this. But no, that's exactly what we're going to talk about. It has been a crazy 2 weeks. We're talking about the Derek Chauvin trial and how that has been going, and it's one of the first. I'm not one of the first. One of the very few cases that have been televised, and this really, nationwide, all news outlets are covering it. We want to talk about that and other types of Black trauma and how we consume media and how we consume those things being Black. And is that healthy for you? Is that something that you do for self-care, or do you turn it away? Do you watch it at all? I also want to talk about the Georgia voting laws and how ridiculous uh, a lot of that stuff is, and how corporations are pulling out of that. And so, just really kind of I don't want to say this is a heavy one of our heavier topics, but I'd go out. I'd go and say it's a little heavier than normal. So, y'all ready to get into it?
I don't know.
I
I
got
think.
I actually have some pretty interesting uh when we further down the line when we talk about the voting laws. Somebody posted something that I did not even pick up on until this week, and I was like, "Oh, makes a lot of sense." But let's go, let's roll.
I think. Simone, do you think this calls for a disclaimer before we go in? Because some of this is like heavy. I always depend on you to do the doctor things for us.
I mean, if you've been watching, then you know that there have been a lot of uh, gory details. Um, and that has to happen because they have to prove their case. They have to prove that Derek Chauvin murdered George Floyd. So I think that there could be some details that we talk about that could be really distressing. So if you think that you don't want to hear some of those details that would impact you negatively, then you should probably step away or maybe watch this at a different time. Maybe not watch it at all. Because I know that in the doctors who came on, who were wonderful witnesses for the prosecution, gave some really specific details that were hard to listen to. So just take care of yourselves while you're listening.
Hmm.
Disclaimer's over now.
Thank you, doctor. We appreciate it. We appreciate it. I just want to say before we jump in, um, Simone and I have been promoting the panel discussion that we were having on Brandon's birthday, which was a holiday.
Man, I'm telling you, man, there was so many, a couple of good things that did happen on my day, huh?
Yes, a few good things that
What else
happened on it.
happened?
He was born.
I don't remember. Well, I know. Other than that,
He was born. We had a panel discussion.
Very happy.
Right, that's it. That's all.
That's
That's all I
good.
needed, right?
That's all you get.
Oh, okay.
But I just wanted to say publicly to anybody who watched it and joined us, thank you, first of all. But Simone did a wonderful job. You know, I was telling her, I don't know if I said this to you actually. I think I might have said it to somebody else, but you know, as a friend group, I don't often get to witness you all in your elements of doing stuff. And we have had Brandon on a couple times just talking about health and wellness, which is definitely his wheelhouse, but rarely do I get to see Simone present and do what she does. So she did a wonderful job just holding it down for, you know, the women, the black women, black doctors, you know, she really did a wonderful job. And if you didn't get a chance to watch it, it's on YouTube. We'll share the link for it. But I did want to just say thank you to Simone for being on, and then just big up. You did a wonderful job.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for saying that. It was fun. It was hard to be the only woman on the panel, but you know, that's how it is. I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But yeah, this week episode, I didn't even give y'all the title. And I named this one, so I'm gonna take all the blame for whatever they don't like about the title. The Curious Case of Derek Chauvin and Georgia Voting Laws. Because it is curious to me.
Well, it sounds like some of the Discovery ID channel.
It reminds me of somebody else who named the title with the word curious. But anyway, we won't say anything else.
We won't say anything about that. No.
I hate y'all.
So let's
First off, are y'all even watching it?
I am.
No, I'm not watching it.
Why not? Why aren't you watching it though?
The only reason I'm not watching it is because of Kaden. Because when all this went down with George Floyd, also Breonna Taylor, and you know, when it happened, we were watching all of it. And Kaden, you know, because we don't have school, you know, he's at home. He was consuming all of it. He was asking a lot of questions, asking me who George Floyd was, asking me where is he, what happened to him, do we need to say goodbye to him? Like he was talking about him all the time. And we realized that we have to be careful about what he consumes, and he's here all day. So I haven't been watching it for that reason. And so at night, I'll try to catch a little bit here and there, like the highlights, but that's why we're not watching. But the other part of that is that I'm still trying to like practice some self-care, because all 2020 and beginning of this year, I was watching it constantly because of Trump and all the foolishness. And so I was like, let me just take a step back. So half because of Kaden, half because I'm still trying to detox from 2020.
No, I'm definitely with you. And I you know, for me, I as well, I'm trying to just want to keep my kids to be kids for as long as they can. And we're going to have these tough conversations, and we do have conversations, but I'm trying to let my kids enjoy, you know, being 7 and being 3 is for as long as possible. And that's one reason for me. And for me, it's self-care, because I saw that video once, and that was one time too many. And to keep hearing everything about, because we've been hearing all these things about it for the last year. I mean, his name sparked international outcry. I mean, it's been a whole year, and it's just like it's hard for me to keep consuming that and still function in quote unquote real life.
I think that I'm watching to bear witness to. And I don't have kids in the house, or at least not as much. And when they are here, I don't watch it with them around, because that is a lot for a child to try to digest, especially when they're talking about it in such matter-of-fact terms and showing pictures and videos. So, you know, when I do have the kids around, we don't look at it at all. But I would say last week, because I was off work for the week, I realized very sadly there's nothing to watch on TV anymore in the daytime, like nothing. So when I found that it was on, because I had totally forgot that it was actually coming on, and when I found that it was going to be on, I think I jumped in maybe like the second or third day and started watching it. And it was really hard to watch. And I think for me, there's not a lot differentiating for me for the case. You know, he got into a little tussle with the clerk because of a counterfeit bill. Not even a tussle, just gave them a counterfeit bill. They accepted it. He walks out. They asked him to come back in. Clear up the bill situation. He didn't want to. He didn't come back in the store. Police come. They get into a little tussle. He tries to get in the car. They end up putting him on the ground. For me, for last summer, we were thinking 8 minutes and 52 seconds or whatever. That's how long the officer had his knee on his neck. Turns out it was 9 minutes and 24 seconds. Just a long time for somebody to be doing that. And then as they're going through the step by step by step, like frame for frame, they're like, are you seeing, exactly how much weight is on this? They went as far as it's like how much Derek Chauvin weighed, how much the belt he has on weighs, how much the armor he has on weighs, and like how and then how he's adjusting himself and leaning into it, like all
the knuckles thing.
Yeah.
The knuckles thing, that got me when they said when he was trying to he was trying to readjust himself to try to breathe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the one thing that I saw that was like, yo, this was crazy was they showed a picture of Chauvin's toes.
Yeah.
And I saw his toes. So
his toes are off the ground.
His toes were off the ground. So when he was kneeling on his neck, he can't say, "Oh, I didn't put that much force on him," because if you're leaning off the ground, your weight has to go somewhere. So there was no point. The ground wasn't holding anything. All his weight was on his neck. And I don't care who you are. I don't care how strong you are. I am not an expert at anatomy and physiology, but I know my stuff. I don't care how big you are, how strong you are. Someone puts that much weight in your neck area, it's for that long. Oh, come on, man.
So for me, it's been more fact finding, because I would say last year we were so emotional when this happened. I mean, and it's on top of Breonna, it was on top of Ahmaud Arbery, on top of all these things, that all I really saw was that image of Chauvin on his neck. I didn't even realize it was two other people on the other side of the car also holding him down. I was like, I just get, it's just that whole, when is this person no longer a threat? When can you deduce force? You see this person is no longer struggling or talking even. Like, when can you let up?
Why don't you see this person as a human being?
Right.
You obviously have the upper hand. There's three of you, right? 3 police officers, one person.
Four.
I mean, 4.
There's a police officer standing in the front, keeping the crowd off. There's Chauvin. Then there's 2 officers, one on his legs and one holding his hands, that are handcuffed behind him, holding his hands down.
Right. That's what I mean. Like the 3 that were on his person, on his body, right?
He ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, he's not going anywhere. So to me, it's just, and the way, I think Fred talked about this when he was on, the look in Chauvin's eyes, like he compared him to like a predator. And there was a point, like a predator's about to kill an animal, And then wasn't there a point where he had his hands in his pockets or something? Like he was just
casually hanging out,
like leisurely, just and his body's being supported by another human. All his body weight. It's just it's terrible's not even the word.
Yeah.
I don't know. I couldn't watch the video. You said you watched it. I didn't watch it.
We're just the way it is. We, as some politicians would call us, we are super
predators.
Super predators. And so I think a lot of that, I think that a lot of times that instills like, oh my gosh, well, we have to do more because these Black people are so dangerous and they're so this and they're just animals. We gotta put a whole magazine in them. We gotta put we gotta have 4 people doing this and the other. It's like we're not seeing, we don't have that. Oh my gosh, what's the word? That nobody thinks of us as fragile human beings like they would other races. And that's
Yeah.
Same bones, same lungs, same necks, bro.
Same anatomy, exactly.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of research that supports that Black men specifically are, even if they're not doing anything, are perceived as a threat simply because of their body type, their
Yep.
physique.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Even young Black males. And there's a lot of research that talks about how there's this idea that we can tolerate more pain. We don't feel pain like other people.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And so this idea that, oh, he's a big, strong Black man, he could take it. So there's
Apparently,
just a
that's taught
lot
in
of, again,
apparently that's taught in medical
implicit stuff.
schools.
It that's thought in the medical scenario. We talked about that in our panel, like how there's a history of
Yeah.
the Black tolerance for pain is
Mhm.
higher.
Yeah.
That ain't true. That's why I guess a lot of our concern goes unnoticed, or
Unnoticed and ignored and
yeah,
dismissed.
Well,
yeah.
white
And
supremacy
then I
is
mean
something else, boy.
this is kind of off topic, but we kind of do it to ourselves sometimes too, especially as Black women, when we're like, oh, I feel pain, but it's fine. It's fine. I don't need to
As
go to the
men,
doctor. And
how
Black men
many of
too. Oh,
y'all
it's fine.
men
It's
bent
all right.
half dying?
Don't go to the
I'm
doctor.
fine. I'm fine.
Right. Right.
Well, that was me when I had my
My
appendix
finger's about to
taken out.
fall
It
off,
took me.
but I'm fine.
I struggled for a whole week. My parents is like, "You okay?" Yeah, I'm good. I'm 12 years old. Yeah, I'm
I'm
fine. I'm
fine.
fine. I'm fine. Took a whole week.
My
Yeah,
goodness.
we have to stop doing that to ourselves.
Yeah. So with stuff
So
like this, I have not seen a trial like this televised. Is Does that give you all some type of hope for the outcome, or are we still kind of just, I don't know, it can go either way.
It can always go either way.
it doesn't give me any hope for the outcome because I know the prosecution or the defense still has to go and do their thing. But I think that um, like Tiffany was saying, I think that perspective is so important to bear witness because so many times these abuses and injustices happen and nobody don't
Yeah.
see it or nobody's talking about it, it gets forgotten. And
Mhm.
so this obviously is very important. And I can't help but think that the public outcry is what has led to this being publicized in this way.
Yes.
Yeah.
We had
Yeah.
Breonna Taylor that was murdered, and we had the law change, and we haven't got justice for her. But some
Mhm.
things have changed, and I feel like the public outcry and people bearing witness was
Mhm.
very helpful
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
and necessary, as painful as it is.
Mhm.
Yeah. This is one of those catch 22s of we are never going to, never ever 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 going to say COVID was a good thing. We'll never say that. We will never say that. 400,000 people in America have died from COVID, and countless millions have contracted it and had serious issues with it. But it is very interesting how things are covered now, because I don't know if we would be right here where we are without it.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
Because we've been locked down.
Yep. We wouldn't
It
have
has,
time to people be out in the street.
Right.
right. We haven't, it's one of those things where we don't have the, oh, look, there's something else, because it's just been one of those constant things that's
Mhm.
just been there, and we've all had an opportunity in some way or form to keep this going.
Mhm. And I have watched several trials like this. There aren't too many, but the trial of Trayvon Martin, well, the trial of George Zimmerman in the murder of Trayvon Martin. I want to make sure we clearly say that stuff because I'm glad that they're not calling this the trial of George Floyd. This is the trial of Derek Chauvin. George Floyd is
Right.
not on trial. The trial of, I wish I could remember the white man's name who killed Jordan Davis, but his trial as well. And with George Zimmerman, I think that was my first time watching a trial every day it was on, having an opinion based off the facts presented to me, and then still being like, not guilty. And that was deflating.
Right.
That was totally deflating.
Mhm.
But then I think after that, I think maybe a year, less than a year after that, they had the trial for the man that killed Jordan Davis, who was the young man who was white man at the gas station shot into their car because their music was too loud. That case was several years ago, and he got found guilty. So in my mind, in my heart, I want to believe that this evidence is so overwhelming that Derek Chauvin will be found guilty. I mean, we watched this. Like, if nothing else, if you felt like force was excessive or needed to be used, at some point you should have dialed it back. Because if you had just done it maybe like 2 minutes and got up, he might still be alive. So just, we lost Simone. She's gone.
We lost Dr.
We
Simone.
lost the doctor. But I have hope because there's so much overwhelming evidence, and so many of the experts are just like, nah, it wasn't the drugs. Nah, it wasn't his heart. It was your knee on his neck. So many experts.
Welcome back.
Yeah, thank you for joining us.
You.
We appreciate having you.
My internet.
But that also scares me. That scares me because we have all this overwhelming, for lack of a better phrase, evidence, proof, whatever you want to call it. We've had numerous testimonies saying, nah, it wasn't the drugs. It was this. It was trace amounts that would not do this. His heart would still be fine.
Brandon, say it louder. Trace. Say it real loud.
Trace amounts. Trace amounts. If he was at home with those same trace amounts, he'd be alive. We've had multiple, I think even somebody that's from Louisville was on.
Yeah, I think the pulmonologist was from Louisville.
Yeah. So, shout out to that. But we've had all this. So if they, for some odd reason, come back with a not guilty, even with all of this evidence, what kind of precedence does that set for trials going forward? Because I still believe we still have Ahmaud coming up. We still have, and this is my bad, but the gentleman who was shot in Atlanta at the Wendy's. I think that's still coming up. I think that's coming up in the next couple of months. We have not had any movement or traction with Brianna's yet. And so if this were to Simone, where you at, girl? Where you at?
Simone didn't pay her internet this month.
Right. Simone didn't pay that internet bill. But if we have all this evidence and it was still like, no, it was justified, that worries me. Like, well, at that point, no cop will ever get a ding because I don't know. Somebody ain't pay that internet bill. You better pay your AT&T or Spectrum right now, Simone.
This has never happened twice. I am so sorry.
It's okay.
Anyway.
It happens.
I had a point.
Unplug your router and then plug it back in.
I'm sorry. Can I jump in?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think it's hopefully. I was going to say that with the fentanyl, the expert said, I don't know who's a doctor. They said when you have a fentanyl overdose or something like that, people usually go into, they usually pass out or go into pass out or something, in a coma or something. And they asked, was George Floyd, did that happen to him where he lost consciousness? And they said, no, that did not happen to him. So that, I mean, it seems like from a medical perspective, they've ruled out that the drug played a role.
Yes.
And so it makes me nervous to think about what the prosecution or the defense, what they're going to say.
Yeah.
To dispute the medical facts. I don't know how they're going to do that. But.
I know y'all haven't been watching, but I have not been feeling his defense lawyer at all. I feel like he was one of, like, you know how bad Trump's lawyers were in the impeachment? I feel like his lawyers are equal.
Well, they had nothing to work with.
Yeah, I just feel like they got nothing. Like, what? I feel like they're just throwing stuff out there now. They had this.
Let's see what sticks.
Yeah,
Keep
like
doing this.
The other day he asked this question, like, is it possible if George Floyd was alone in his home just based off his heart condition, would he have died just based off heart disease? And they're like, no. What?
Like maybe like in a couple years, but not that day.
Right,
like a couple decades, right? They wouldn't have done nothing.
Yeah.
That's hard. Like,
but that makes me happy. If that's how you died, then when it's your turn to go, like, and present what do you have?
But to come back what Brandon was saying before Simone's internet jumped in and jumped out. I heard Ugly say on the radio Friday that this case was very important because if Derek Chauvin was found innocent, then that would mean that it did not matter what police did to us or who recorded it or who saw it, because they would have license to continue to use excessive force against people of color with no retribution.
Which to me just says, if the
Absolutely.
system was smart, they would just make an example out of this guy
Mm-hmm.
and call it a day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But who knows? Who knows? And
Yeah.
that's what kind of worries me.
When we think about white supremacy, though, and how embedded it is, and how white people want to protect it, it serves them to not, it serves them to let him walk, because they're going to do everything they can to maintain their system, whether they realize it or not. So that's the scary part.
And I think that's an important thing to really note, is when we are talking about white supremacy, when we're talking about racism and all these type things, at this stage of the game, we're not talking about someone saying the N-word. I mean, to me that's a non. I'm not saying it's a non-issue, but it's
almost small potatoes. Like
the least of our worries, right?
But we're talking about entrenched, systematic type things that come with that, because there is absolutely no way that you can convince me that what Chauvin did would happen to a white guy. You cannot convince me.
No, because we've seen that, right?
We've seen it time and time again.
We have seen killers with weapons be taken in ever so gently because they were white, and not even, you're talking the juxtaposition of this. You're talking about an unarmed black man who, over a $20 counterfeit bill, you got him on the ground like this for 9 minutes. And meanwhile,
go ahead.
White dudes just shooting up the city, carrying the gun around in the pocket.
And that's the thing.
And the message.
Go ahead, Simone.
Go ahead, Brandon.
I was
gonna say go, Brandon. Go. Go, Brandon.
So I'm now at a point that I do not believe it is a training problem.
No,
not at all. Not at all.
They have said that. They said this is not supposed to happen in training. That we did not teach Derek this. That's what they said.
This is not a training thing. You cannot, and it's hard for me to say, you cannot reform that either. You have to burn it and start.
No, I believe it 100%.
You cannot.
He cannot be in law enforcement ever again.
Right. You can't reform this. If this is crazy. He said, "Oh, we just need better. Please need better training and more of this."
No,
they have ample training. They know they use their de-escalation tactics on white people all the time.
Yes, the stats are staggering. How many white folks who kill people walk away, and how many of us have non-violent crimes or no weapon and die? Like, it's just ridiculous. And what I was going to say was the white man that killed the mass killing in Atlanta. The explanation for him was he just had a bad day.
Oh,
he had a bad day.
He had a bad day.
Tim on stage said, "When I have a bad day, I eat ice cream."
That's what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna shoot nobody.
But that's the crazy thing.
He had a bad day. Wow.
And I'm thinking about it from my situation. That dude in Atlanta is still alive. This, that, and the other. Here I am. I ran a red light and I get gun pulled out on me for a red light.
Yeah,
we don't get equal.
That's a real problem.
We don't get
punishment does not fit the crime.
Not at all. Not at all. And more oftentimes,
I love the point you made though, Brandon. You can't.
Go
ahead.
What? No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I thought you froze.
I did too. I was about to say, "Oh Lord, internet again."
No. It says my internet is unstable again, but I was just saying that it. I love what you said about how you can't reform that. You can't reform that. It's just you don't need to be policing.
No, you can't reform it. You can't reform it. We have to literally, and for me saying that you can't reform it does not mean I don't believe in government, does not believe in law enforcement. I believe all those things are necessary to an extent, but the way that it is currently constructed is not, should not be the way that policing is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I mean the individual. The individual. You can't reform the individual. I think we need to
Yeah,
reform the
yeah,
system, but the
yeah, same thing,
individual.
same thing.
No,
Yep.
if you kneel on somebody's neck for 9 minutes, you got hate in your heart, like for sure. You don't need to be doing nothing else that involves helping or serving anybody, because you got something down in there that's not good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
100%, 100%.
Yeah.
I'll get my blood pressure up.
I know.
I think that goes though, Tiff, to your question about did we learn anything new about uh George Floyd?
Mm-hmm.
Um, it doesn't matter. I don't care. I don't care. They bringing up his past. I don't care about none of
Okay.
that. It doesn't. There's nothing new I could learn that would justify what happened.
Again,
Don't
George
care.
Floyd could have been El Chapo. You keep saying it. He could have been El Chapo moving 1,000 keys a week. Don't matter.
Yeah. At the end of the day, for me, there was no danger to those officers. It's four of them, one of him. They had all the weapons. They have all the tools. He had nothing. They had the upper hand. They could have done better. They could have done
Yep.
better. So they could bring out whatever. He could have been a deadbeat dad. He could have been the biggest drug dealer. He could have been on all the cocaine. Does not matter to me.
Yeah.
People's lives, that's just like you taking somebody's life in that time. Somebody that didn't have to die, like did not do anything worth dying for.
Nah,
Mhm.
100%. 100%. We're gonna get my blood pressure
Yeah.
even
Let us
higher with these
shift.
voting laws.
Come on.
Yes. Let's shift to the voting laws to Jim Crow 2.0.
So apparently, too many black folks voted over the last couple months.
Well, they stole it, Brandon. If you say it right, they
You
stole
say it
it.
right. You say
This
that's the
was the most
political that's the
secure election.
right. The political folks say, "Oh no, the election was stolen." But what they
Stole
saying in their homes is there was too many black people that voted. We don't like that. And with that, we're getting a whole host of new laws. And of course, I think according to our notes, was it 250 new laws have been proposed in 43 states, affecting mail-in voting, early in-person voting, election day voting,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of it is being done by the R's. By the
Mm-hmm.
R's, we mean the Republicans. Maybe a little bit salty about some of
Yeah.
those losses,
Mm-hmm.
and for me, that I believe that most um, politicians are shady in a way. I
Mm-hmm.
don't think that's a
Mhm.
crazy thought to have.
No.
But the hypocrisy is ridiculous because there were a lot of Republicans that won.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, so hold
Yes.
on. So you're saying that the system that allowed you to win, but because Democrats won XYZ, it's a bad system. So what does that say about your win?
I don't think that has computed
Right.
yet, because I feel like that should
Mm-mm.
cancel out your argument, right? If y'all
Exactly.
cannot tell me that Mitch McConnell with his dead hands won, if this election was rigged, how do we let Mitch McConnell win again? I would take McConnell
Exactly.
out over Biden any day. I want to get rid of Mitch
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
Mitch impacts my state. Get out of here.
100%. It's just like,
It's really a childish mentality. And
yeah,
that's what they were saying about Trump too. Like, you lost, you're the top of the ticket, you lost. But
Mm-hmm.
all these other people, all other Republicans won. That's a
Mm-hmm.
rejection of you.
Yes.
right,
We don't want you. And in
right,
Georgia, of course, they lost big in Georgia on
Mm-hmm.
so many levels. So
yeah.
um it's just terrible that what they're
Yeah.
trying to do.
Well,
Can I
what are
shout
some of the highlights of some of these bills or lowlights? Lowlights.
before we do that? Can I ask y'all a question? Because I was how this came to be. Like, I don't know if I was just missing this because I wasn't watching the news as much or whatnot. But I saw a black lawmaker getting arrested for wanting to knock
Yes.
on the door
Yeah.
And that's how I found out about
Yes.
all of this, because otherwise I didn't know anything. That just says something about how quietly some of these laws are being changed or pushed through or whatever, because I was unaware. And I was wondering, did y'all know about it like before that happened, or was that like the red flag or the light bulb for you all?
Yes.
I saw some
I knew about
social
it, and
media.
I saw her on the news.
I saw some social media rumblings, and then when that happened, it was like, oh, this is why she did X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
They were about to charge her. She was like, they were about to charge her, and she got off or whatever. So they had her on the news the other night.
That's crazy.
It's
That's
wild.
crazy.
It's really wild. It's really wild. Finding someone $1,000 to hand someone food or some water in a voting line.
Crazy.
How do you even do that? What's
Yeah.
illegal about that? Is that rationale?
They don't want you to be comfortable.
What is
Because people got to stand in line, right?
Yeah.
So you're going to be in line for a minute. So I think handing out food and water helps people stay in line if it's going to be hours or whatever. So if I don't have no incentive to stand here, it might deter people from staying in line for long hours.
It's so wild to me, man. It's so.
the point is that everybody who can vote, that as many people who can legally vote be allowed to vote.
I don't think that's the point no more.
And it's supposed to be the point. But we
supposed to
know
be.
those are lies. We know that, obviously. When you're saying, I'm going to arrest you or fine you for giving people water, for carrying out their constitutional duty.
But that's the wild thing, because again, I will never say that COVID was a good thing, but there were some things that came out of COVID that I think were good. And what we did last year when it came to voting was, to me, exceptional. All the stuff that we did last year leading up to the election should have been done decades ago, as far as the ease and making it easy, to
Yes.
vote. I don't understand why we have one day that we vote. It is
Right.
nonsensical. It's nonsensical to do that. So, early voting and doing as many mail-ins as unless you think you're gonna lose, why would you be against that?
And it seems like they're giving you
Exactly.
things. They're giving you things, but they're giving you more restrictions on the things. It's like, we're gonna have boxes. We're just not gonna have as many voting boxes. Just stuff like that. It's just weird.
And look what they did with the boxes when they had them.
Did somebody crawl underneath the boxes and tamper
They tried
with the
to
machines?
they took boxes away. They had fake boxes.
I remember that.
To try to get people to put their votes in boxes that weren't real. Then they took mail boxes away.
They burned some of them. Yeah, they were wild then.
And they still lost. And still lost.
And the crazy thing, I'll be as, again, y'all know me. I am critical of Joe Biden. Joe Biden was not my first choice to be president. Definitely better than the alternative. And I know I've given him a rough go as fast as I want him to move on some things. But he had to like kind of
rebuild the wheel.
Yeah, you're right. He had to bring things back censor, just from the craziness from the last 4 years. So he just had to get stuff done. And it's only been a couple of 3 months. 3 months. So so much craziness, man. So much craziness.
So back to
I feel like he's been president for a year already.
It does feel like that.
It's right.
Yeah.
Time is moving fast and slow at the same time. I don't know how that happens. Now, one thing for me, I know I want to say this first before I forget, but I know that I mentioned earlier that I wanted to say something about these new laws, and it's not my thought, but somebody was like, how can the voter ID requiring an ID to vote be something systemic, like systemic racism for that? And then underneath that, somebody wrote, there are many of our older generation who don't have birth certificates, who don't have this, who don't have that, because they weren't able to do so because they were born in XYZ era. So if you had, my great grandparents or grandparents who were born in Jim Crow, whatever. They couldn't necessarily go to hospitals. You know how can they get an ID when they can't even get born into a hospital? There were so many of those individuals who are born in homes with nothing,
Mm-hmm.
with no paperwork. So how do they get IDs? And that just limits more and more disenfranchised Black and Brown individuals. And I was like, yo, I didn't even realize that. Like how, again, just the depth of systemic racism and how back in that day, Black people couldn't see a lot of doctors, and instead they a lot of Black folks saw veterinarians
Mm-hmm.
for their for
I didn't
their
know
uh
that.
for their health and for their
Wow.
health challenges and this, that, and the other because they weren't allowed to go see doctors. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like really and truly white supremacy is so embedded in this country that it really touches everything. And it's just wild. The older I get, the more stuff I find out about it. And it's just wow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's crazy. And just curious, how many of y'all have y'all birth certificates or social security cards?
I can lie, I do.
You do?
I
Well,
I do have. I have
Brandon, me and you, we have our stuff. It's in a folder.
actually it is. It's in a locked folder.
Is
And it's funny. I think I have two socials. I think every all of us have two socials.
Mm-hmm.
We do have the birth certificates, and they're all placed in a file. Actually, no, those documents are in a safe. Bye bye, again. But yeah, but
Oh
when
man.
you look at mine, so I was born in '85,
Mm-hmm.
and when you look at my birth certificate, that joint looks old.
It does. It's being
That
held
joint
together by
looks
tape in
super
the Lord.
old. And
Mm-hmm.
so I can't even imagine what a birth certificate for someone that was born in the 70s,
Would look like.
60s, the 50s, and
Mm-hmm.
in the 40s. And they're like, oh, well, that's in the 40s. Well, someone that's born in the 40s,
Mm-hmm.
they just turned 80 this year. There's
Yeah.
still a lot of those individuals alive.
Yeah.
So if you were not able to go to a hospital, if you were not able to get a hold of those documents in the very beginning, how are you expected to have an idea on you? You don't drive. The house that you live in was a house that that might have been passed down from you maybe live with family members, so you don't have to
Mm-hmm.
worry about those things. And I also saw someone's like, oh yeah, we didn't have birth certificates. We wrote down our names and the birth date in the family Bible,
Yeah.
and it's just like,
You
oh
can't bring
my,
it to the voting poll and be like, they're not gonna
right.
take that.
The family Bible said I was born this day. This is my proof. So that's it's just a very wild thing, man.
And then they're changing some things. So in Kentucky, we're getting the real ID
Yes.
that people are supposed to have in October. Although I don't see a lot of push for explaining and getting people appointments to get their real ID. And then like, what can you do with it? What can you not do with it? That
Hmm.
type of thing. And then I was also thinking about all of those older adults who don't drive anymore, but they still have IDs, but they may not be current.
Hmm.
So that could be a barrier too, because if these people who don't drive have not renewed their IDs because they don't have no reason to because they're not driving nowhere,
Right.
they're gonna prohibit them from being able to vote too.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's a problem. So the what else did we talk about? Oh, we wanted to hit these highlights. We'll wait for Simone to come back in if she ever makes it. Her internet is so shoddy this evening.
But to me, it's just so crazy, and it's just how folks move. And again, I am a gun owner.
Mhm.
I got multiple guns,
Mhm.
and I feel like I'm a very safe gun owner. All this type of the other, but Republicans will shoot down. Ha! I didn't even mean to do that. They will.
No
They will
pun
shoot.
intended.
But they will shoot down any type of safety or gun safety law or anything like that when we have hundreds of mass shootings a day, when we have thousands of shootings a day in this or a year in this, that, and the other.
Mhm.
And so, but uh, as soon as someone introduces, but what we're quick to introduce a voting law when out of a million votes, maybe two were fraudulent.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, just
There wasn't enough for you to be
that
like,
hip, The hypocrisy is crazy to me.
Yeah. I'm just like, y'all are doing the most. Y'all are
Yeah.
doing the most because y'all, it didn't turn out. And I guess that's, to me, what it comes down to it at the end of it is that because this did not turn out the way you wanted it to, instead of beating the pavement to try to increase more support so you can get the votes, you're trying to change laws to restrict it
Right.
for people so that you won't have to worry about these people voting anymore.
Right.
Because doing stuff like making it illegal to give voters presents or to campaign within 25 feet of a voting line, that's so I can't give you a gift card because you voted. I can't. I'm not bribing you to vote a certain way. I'm giving you an incentive to come vote.
Right.
Because some people don't want to. If I feel like someone was saying earlier, everybody who is able should vote.
Yes.
If you can, you should. But some people need some encouragement. They don't want to vote. Why not? Because the person they vote for never wins. So if they feel that way, if they truly feel that way, they feel the election is rigged, or they feel that whoever they choose ain't gonna win no way, it's not gonna matter. Then you have to give those people some kind of incentive to vote, some kind of reason to go and to be there. And if it's not gonna be, it don't have to be presents or whatever. But if I'm not gonna give you a bottle of water while you stand in line for an hour and a half
In the hot sun.
in the hot sun, then what is your reason for coming to vote? Like, we talked about the IDs. There's gonna be fewer drop box locations. So Simone, you were talking about the boxes earlier.
Yep, she did.
Yeah, so there will be fewer drop box locations where absentee voters can deposit ballots. Before last year, these boxes were not used in Georgia, but were temporarily allowed during the pandemic. The new law confirms drop box locations can be used in the future, though at a reduced number per county compared to 2020.
Mm-hmm.
So you can have some, but you're gonna just have a few. It won't be everywhere.
Crazy.
You know, I think that this just means that the people who do the on the grounds work are just going to mobilize as early and often to get people what they need so that they can adjust to these unjust laws.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my hope. We shouldn't have to do that. But yeah, you're right. It looks like too many black folks voted, and where
Can't beat
where
them,
Trump was
cheat them.
right, and that's what they're best at. And I know in Michigan specifically, was it Michigan?
Yes.
It was, yeah, they Trump was trying to get the votes from a particular county where it's mostly black, trying to get those votes overturned. So,
Mm-hmm.
the strategy is so clear. Like, it's really
so
clear.
It's
Yeah.
so clear.
Yeah.
It's so clear that businesses are like, yo, y'all are wilding. If Fortune 500 companies are coming out and like, yo, y'all doing too much. Like
Yeah.
baseball, they took it out. They took their All-Star game out of Atlanta and moved it, I believe, to Denver. Or
Mm-hmm.
I think to Denver. I think you have what, Delta, who has a hub.
Mm-hmm.
I think down there. I think they not a hub, but like a headquarters down there. I think
Yes.
they were just like, yo, y'all wilding out.
Yeah.
And if these folks are coming out and saying that to me is a big show. I know activism is cool now, but that's still kind of big to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Didn't Mitch McConnell do something where he was threatening businesses in Georgia for speaking out or something? There's something with Mitch McConnell threatening
He
I
said
folks.
wanted to.
something.
I think it was him and Rand Paul
Yeah.
were saying some stuff, which is hilarious because they were talking about those companies, but I think it is Coca-Cola that is actually investing tens of millions of dollars in Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like there's so much of a disconnect between those type of politicians and everyday people because it's all about
Yes.
that power consolidation that
Yeah.
he would rather say punish those companies when those companies are helping to fuel economic progress in your own state.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So
Dude, what are you thinking?
Yep.
this is what it says. It says Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell denounced the opposition, corporations, and sports associations have expressed about a recent Georgia voting law, warning that firms should stay out of politics. These firms, they're made up of people who are impacted by politics. What do you
Right.
mean? Ridiculous.
Right.
That power, man.
They don't want to give it up. That's crazy. Some of these people, Mitch McConnell been in there way too long. Way too long.
Absolutely.
He's been there the whole time we've been alive. So much has changed. I need you
His
to
hands
go.
have died.
His hands are dead.
But he's still in there.
He's still in there. Oh, dead
One
hands.
He's passing away one extremity at a time.
Okay,
Crazy.
that's what happens when you do evil. Slowly, just
Slowly
waste.
but
And
surely.
we don't wish any harm on him. We hope he lives a
No,
long, happy
no,
life. But it's just
no.
kind of ironic that his hands seem to be
Long
going
happy
away.
life. Long.
Yes,
Maybe
out of the
just
public eye,
can't
out of
just
the
be a happy
away.
life. Does it
No,
have
I
to be
just
real, real
it could be a
long?
long. I don't know if I want it to be happy. It could be long.
Well, okay,
It could be
long.
unhappy. As the young folks say, prayers down. Prayers down.
I never heard of that. I never
I guess that's gonna replace our thoughts and prayers.
prayers down.
Prayers down.
Oh
I never
no.
heard that. I'm gonna start using that.
Oh man.
Jeez. Okay, to hit a few more things that's in these new laws in Georgia anyway, just so you all will be aware. Mobile voting centers are banned, so any like voting polling stations on wheels, not doing those anymore. It's going to be harder to extend voting hours in polling locations. Absentee ballot application. This is the one that's bothering me. Absentee ballot applications can no longer be mass mailed. If someone wants to vote by mail, they have to download their own application and send it in. That's what I don't like. It's going to disenfranchise some other people.
Can we just say, meanwhile, there were no major voting irregularities. None.
And there
None.
never
And Trump
has
proved
been.
that with all his cases,
Get
he
thrown
didn't
out.
get anything because there were no irregularities. So what is the impetus for these changes other than the fact that you don't want Black and brown people voting?
It's for control. They want to stay in.
Ridiculous.
They want to stay in them seats they're in.
The system worked. The system worked, y'all. It worked the way it was supposed to.
It did.
And they hate it.
Mhm.
And they hate it. Happening. All this equity and access. Well, we
Yeah.
can't have access.
Can't have that.
No.
The only thing that I saw that was good in this bill, it guarantees between 17 and 19 days of early in-person voting. Only good thing I saw in there.
I can get with that.
Yeah.
Why not just make it a smooth 3 weeks? Just make it 3 weeks, 21
Right.
days.
21 days of in-person voting. Can we have that? Oh, Lord.
Right.
Anyway, sorry,
Let's hit these gratitudes so we can get Simone up out of here.
Right.
You know what? I'm gonna hit my gratitudes first. I'm happy for stable internet.
This is your fault, Brandon. If we had been on time, my internet would have had more time to
act up.
My internet got tired. That's what happened.
Internet got tired, huh? That's all me.
I'm thankful for patient friends, and I'm just thankful that our listeners, they know us. And,
yes.
Hey, yeah, they know anything happened. I'm surprised my kids ain't been busting in here yet.
I'm thankful for the levity in the conversation because we needed these little laugh breaks because this is enough to just make you upset just all the time. It's a wonder that Black people or people of color can laugh and smile so much.
If somebody's being shady, sending pictures of me. I hate y'all. Anyway.
No, but on the real, I am thankful. I'm thankful that we can. Who was the person that said to be Black in America is to be in a perpetual state of rage, and I think we all are in that rage a lot of times, and I am thankful for friends who we can joke and laugh and kind of make it a little bit lighter than what it is. And while this is a heavy, like Tip said, while this is a heavy topic, we can joke. That's one reason why I think we the best comedians, man, because we
yeah
we got a lot of material.
We got a lot of material, man. A lot of material.
And great, like Simone said, good coping skills. Good coping skills.
Yeah.
Well, we said we was only gonna be an hour tonight. We're gonna keep to that.
We're gonna keep it. Got to, because Simone's internet is working on overtime.
You know it. I don't know how long she's gonna be with us.
Watch it work perfect the rest of the night.
Of course it will.
Well,
All American will be back soon.
yes.
They'll be back this week, right? Yeah.
Yes.
I think next week is coming back, right?
No, it's coming back the 12th. So that's
the
Monday.
12th.
Next week.
This week. Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah.
When they watch it is today. So
today is the 7th day. It's the 7th day. Tomorrow starts a new week, Adventist. Okay.
Well, then it's already started because the sun is set. So there. Already.
Oh, you're right.
The
You got
evening
me.
and the
You're
morning
right.
is a day.
That's right. Thank you. My bad.
Little Adventist humor there.
Yes. It really is.
Well, we're looking forward to All American coming back. And we'll be back with you guys next week. I wish I could tell you what we're talking about, but I can't remember what the topic is. So you just have to wait and see.
Hey, you might see me super happy. Oh, I will let y'all know because I get my second shot.
Oh yeah, we both get our second shots.
We get our second shot next Saturday.
Yeah. So we'll be on here. We'll let y'all know how we're feeling. Simone, you got your first one, right?
Or we won't be on.
Right. Might have to cancel.
Doing it solo.
Yeah, I do mine on the 28th.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Excited, everybody's getting vaccinated. I love it.
Tiffany, sing the vaccinated song.
I'm gonna sing it after we get fully vaccinated. I'm gonna sing it next week. Okay.
Okay.
Vaccinated. Vaccinated. Brandon and I are gonna sing it together next week because we'll be fully vaccinated.
I sang it to Sean. He was not impressed. He was like,
neither was Joel. He was like, they never should have gave you that song. So no, they shouldn't have. It's their fault. Well, we're gonna wrap this up until next time we get together, which will be next week. You all take care in these corona times.
Yes. Wear your mask even if you're vaccinated.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Wash your hands even if you're vaccinated. Still do the things.
You should have been washing your hands anyway. Yeah, you should have been doing that anyway.
Wash your hands, period.
Nasty.
Yes. And if anybody asks you, did you know the flu stats was down this year? Tell them it's because we wear our mask and we wash our hands.
Exactly. Thank you. Isn't it curious?
Oh my God.
No, it isn't.
Epidemiological sense.
Yeah.
Actually, makes a lot of sense.
Makes a lot of sense.
Your spittle fluids aren't in the air. So hello.
I haven't been raw in any air, other people's air. I haven't been hitting.
Right. You've been covered. That's why.
You've been covered.
You've been staying away from each other. That's why your flu stats is down. Come on. And thank you. As always, we got to end by saying if we still would like justice for Breonna Taylor, please. That would be good if that could happen. And, let's not be so heavy with the next few weeks. We got 2 more weeks of this trial, so don't let it get you down.
Practice your self-care, folks.
Yeah. All right.
And as always, we remain yours.
As long as my internet works, I remain y'all.
Good night, y'all.
See y'all next time.